Right now at noon, details of a multi-million-dollar wastewater project coming to Pittsburgh.
And our first round of rain starting to exit the area. Now we've got the gusty winds and maybe even another round of thunderstorms ahead of the snow. We got a lot to talk about. That's coming up in the forecast.
Plus a grant to help revitalize a historic downtown area.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, we've been experiencing strong thunderstorms throughout the morning today, and more could be on the way. This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Elise Snowy. Let's go straight to Chris Warner for more.
Yeah, we had some of those storms this morning. Did have that severe thunderstorm watch. The only warning we had was ultimately in Delaware County, and thankfully we haven't seen anything else. The problem we have, though, is the gusty winds aside from thunderstorms, and we're seeing those gusts already anywhere from 40 to 60 miles an hour. In fact, we've had power flickers here at the station. Not from thunderstorm activity, but from wind. How's downtown Pittsburgh? This is 32nd and Range Line. Again, still wet roadways out there, still cloudy, but we are starting to see some clearing. And you can see the rain starting to come to an end, and that means the clouds are tapering off. That's why there's concern over the second, or at least a potential round of second storms, is this gap right here where we're getting some sunshine in, we're getting a little energy in, and if we can get thunderstorms in that zone, then we could see some additional strong to low-grade severe storms. So we still have that low tornado risk across the area, as well as the hail and wind risk. Now this morning we did have that elevated risk. It has been dropped to low, but we're not quite out of the woods just yet. A reminder, high wind warnings in Kansas, wind advisories for just about everybody else out there, so we'll talk about that as well here in just a minute. 44 is where we started yesterday. 68 is where we made it, so above normal, but not to record levels. And we're at 51, both Joplin and Pittsburgh, breezy in both locations as well. Temperatures still kind of hovering just in the low 50s, a little cooler, 46 Monett, 49 in Cassville. Now temperatures will continue to drop through the evening hours, and any thunderstorm chances will wrap up by about 5 or 6. We'll have showers. Then eventually this will start to make that transition to snow, and then we'll have those gusty winds. Details on all of that here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, we're closing in on severe weather season, and that has local school districts planning for possible severe weather events. Now, in the past couple of years, our area experienced tornado warnings near the end of the school day. In recent cases, class has still been in session, and students and staff have taken shelter on campus. Now, district officials say they closely monitor severe weather events while school is in session.
We try to use every resource we have to try to anticipate not only track but also timing of the storms to anticipate, we want to keep our kids in place. Obviously, we don't want our kids out going into storms. We also don't want our families going out into storms.
Now, they say while the weather situation can change in an instant, they feel they are prepared for whatever Mother Nature sends their way. And Kansas and Missouri are observing Severe Weather Preparedness Week from now until March 7th. Emergency management teams will be promoting safety throughout the week with an emphasis on different weather disasters each day. On Wednesday, tomorrow, tornado sirens will sound across both states as part of a statewide drill, encouraging residents to practice their emergency plans. Officials urge everyone to stay prepared by knowing the signs of severe weather, having a safe shelter, and keeping emergency supplies ready. The city of Pittsburgh's wastewater treatment plant has received funding for an expansion. KOAM's Melissa Alexis has more.
Everything from start to finish is going to take water.
Having safe, purified water is crucial for every town, for residents and businesses alike. And the Corner Patio in Pittsburgh is no different. The restaurant's owner, Andrea Ascanio, says the business couldn't function without it.
For cooking, we wash all our dishes. We need clean water for that. We have our soda machine that takes water. We have soup.
That's why Pittsburgh Wastewater Treatment Plant is expanding its facility to better serve the community.
It's one of those things that you don't realize until you are in a different city or you hear about other cities that have a lot of issues with their water treatment or their clean water.
The current city facility is about 65 years old and will be completely decommissioned. Repairs for the facility are costly, which led leaders to deciding to replace it.
We hope that this new plant will serve the community for many decades to come. It's kind of a generation project.
The new facility will be less spread out than their current facility here behind me, and it'll also allow them to be in line with their updated permit.
This will bring us into compliance for future years for a permit, as well as growth for a community, just to keep the health and safety welfare versus.
The Director of Public Works and Utilities says the city is making this happen now thanks to a loan of about $6 million from the state of Kansas.
It's important to be in a community that cares about our water supply and our water management.
Reporting in Pittsburgh, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
The project will take about 2 years to complete. The city hopes to begin construction in May. A grant program in Coffeyville, Kansas hopes to revitalize the city's historic downtown. Now, 6 grants of up to $20,000 is available for local business and property owners. Applicants would be required to match any grant up to 25%. Now, the goal is to make improvements with a goal to preserve the downtown area's historic nature and make it more visually appealing.
We really want the downtown to look appealing, to help attract and keep people in the downtown. So this year, that's the plan. We will adjust again for the next year, and we'll keep making changes, all for the benefit of our downtown revitalization.
Now, the spring round of applications is due March 15th. There will also be a fall round opening in June. And spring is almost here, and many aspiring gardeners are taking the opportunity to learn the basics of growing their own fresh produce. Now, a free beginner gardening class took place at Joplin Greenhouse last night, offering valuable tips for both first-time gardeners and those looking for a refresher.
My favorite thing about gardening is the reward of gardening. I really enjoy harvesting things, and it's really good family time. Some of my favorite things to plant in the garden would be tomatoes, of course, green beans, and asparagus. Those would be probably my top 3.
Well, experts were on hand to answer questions and provide practical tips to help people build a successful garden. And coming up, a bill before the Missouri Senate could turn some people into bounty hunters. And later, we're making Mardi Gras beignets in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. Well, President Trump is set to give a speech tonight before a joint gathering of Congress. Now, his first since taking office for a second time. That comes as new U.S. tariffs went into effect overnight and after the White House put all U.S. aid to Ukraine on hold. Natalie Brand has the latest from Capitol Hill.
25% tariffs are now in effect on the nation's 2 biggest trading partners, Canada and Mexico, as President Trump gets ready to address a joint session of Congress tonight.
It's going to be very costly for people to take advantage of this country.
The U.S. also increased tariffs on imports from China, bringing them to 20%. Each country has vowed to respond with tariffs of its own. But on Fox News, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent downplayed impacts to consumers.
I am highly confident that the Chinese manufacturers will eat the tariffs. Prices won't go up. With Canada and Mexico, I think we're in the middle of a transition.
But even some Republicans are worried.
Maine's economy is very integrated with Canada. Certain Maine products, such as lobster and blueberries, are often processed in Canada and then come back into the United States.
The president's address here on Capitol Hill also comes as the Trump administration paused military aid to Ukraine following Friday's contentious meeting with President Zelensky.
The president has been very clear he wants the Ukrainians to come to the negotiating table. I think when the Ukrainians come to the negotiating table, everything is on the table.
President Trump's domestic agenda is also expected to be front and center tonight, including efforts to shrink the size of the federal government, with over 25,000 layoffs so far.
Firing federal workers who do cancer research and Alzheimer's research, that does not make us a stronger country or a stronger government.
Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren is among the Democrats who have invited fired federal workers as special guests tonight. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Among President Trump's guests for tonight are the widow and daughters of Corey Capator, the rally-goer who was killed when a gunman tried to assassinate President Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania this past summer. And a bill before the Missouri State Senate would offer $1,000 to people who help turn in undocumented immigrants. Senate Bill 72 would make it a state felony for anyone in the U.S. illegally to enter and stay in Missouri. Now, it would also create an opportunity for licensed bond agents to become bounty hunters. The bill's sponsor says the reward is similar to those offered by law enforcement agencies seeking information on a crime. Opponents say the bill is already spreading fear in both legal and undocumented immigrants. And still to come on KOAM News at Noon, Mr. Food.
We're whipping up a New Orleans favorite just in time for Mardi Gras. Keep your shirt on. I'll be back to show you in a minute.
And we are continuing to monitor the rain, the snow, the wind, and the cold air that follows. The latest when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM News at Noon. We've got thunderstorms. We've had them through the morning. They're starting to exit. Now we've got those gusty winds on the backside of all of this, and we still could see more storms. And then we're eventually going to see some snow. Let's take a quick look outside downtown Pittsburgh. You'd see we're getting a little clearing. It's still cloudy, but we're getting a little more daylight out there. And I do want to mention we've actually had some very gusty winds in the Barry and Lawrence County. In fact, a tree down near Hoburg in Lawrence County from these non-thunderstorm winds. So that's our concern. And we're going to talk about the winds in just a moment, but non-thunderstorm winds are going to be causing a problem. So here we've got rain still mainly along and east of the 69 corridor. There's still showers back behind this, but most of the bulk of this is out here. No severe weather, no strong storms, just those gusty winds that we've got to fight. Now, I wanted to throw on the satellite here because you see the cloud cover does stretch back, some clearing a little bit in Greenwood and Chautauqua counties, but we got more clearing along the I-35 corridor associated with that low pressure. This is where we're getting some heating. It's where we're getting some sunshine. If we get enough energy to build in here, the thing that we're expecting is as this low rotates around, more storms will develop. And this is what they're going to have to feed off of. And if we can get some of this up here, that's why we're still looking at that risk for some strong to potentially severe storms as we head into the next few hours. We have high wind warnings. These oranges or yellowish colored counties here. And then the tan are wind advisories. In the high wind warnings, winds could gust anywhere from 60 to 70 miles an hour. So we are talking damaging wind gusts, not associated with thunderstorms. It's been a while, I think, since we've had any kind of wind event like that here in the 4 states. Wind advisory zones anywhere from 40 to 60 mile an hour wind gusts. That's what, again, led to some damage into parts of Lawrence County. Like just a tree down so far, but that's going to be the other issue. And you've got to watch out for that because it's going to be taking things out with some of these damaging wind gusts. On top of that, we have these winter weather advisories through 3 a.m. for our far northwestern counties. And that is because here you could get 1 or 2 inches of snow, mainly on grassy surfaces, but nonetheless, a couple inches of snow. For the rest of us, we're talking a dusting to maybe an inch, and again, primarily on the grassy surfaces, but we are going to see snow this evening. Quick reminder, we do have a low risk for all categories for tornado, hail, and wind across the virtually the entire region, at least at this point right now, and that is because as this low cycles on through, it's these thunderstorms that are going to develop out here on the backside that we have to keep a close eye on. You see how we warm up? We're pretty chilly right now. Our temperatures have come down. But if this dry slump really works out and we do get warm, that's going to lead to a fuel for additional thunderstorms that could be strong to severe. Then as the evening goes on, temperatures drop. Now we have those northwest winds still gusting 40, 60, 70 miles an hour. But now we've got snow. That's the other concern we have is with this snow, while again, it may not be a lot that we get, it's going to be enough that as it comes down, it could reduce visibility significantly overnight tonight into very early tomorrow morning. Now, I don't think we're looking at any significant impacts for schools, for example, for buses heading out on the road. This snow should be out of here before buses run their routes, but it's going to be dangerously cold, bitterly cold at least. It's going to be super windy, and we're going to have that snow to deal with, so just keep that in mind. We'll have slick spots out there as well, but we will eventually start to warm up as we head into our Thursday and Friday. So again, about 60. We may even get a hair warmer here and there. We got those winds still gusting. That wintry mix and light snow overnight tonight. Wind gusts picking an average here of about 50, but anywhere from 40 to 60 to 70 mile an hour wind gusts down to 30. That continues into tomorrow, still 40, 50, 60 mile an hour wind gusts. Low to mid 40s out there. And once we get beyond that, Again, we turn around, we start to warm right back up. Mostly cloudy Thursday, but we'll take it. Mid to upper 50s out there, low to mid 60s Friday. A little cooler Saturday, maybe a shower, but otherwise just a wild roller coaster ride in a brief period of time, and then we'll go back to being warm again.
All right, Chris, thanks. And stick around, we're making Mardi Gras beignets in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. We'll be right back. Well, today, celebrate Mardi Gras with a New Orleans classic. Howard's making Mardi Gras beignets in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Just in case you haven't looked at your calendar, today is Fat Tuesday. For many, that means we can eat anything and everything because all that changes tomorrow since it's Ash Wednesday. So what do you say we indulge ourselves with a Mardi Gras and New Orleans classic that is party perfect? If you guess we're making beignets, you're right. We start with a 1-pound loaf of frozen bread dough that we've thawed. To that, we knead in a bit of powdered sugar and roll it out on a cutting board. Now, we cut this into 2-inch squares and gently drop them in a deep skillet that has about an inch or so of shortening that we've heated up. Once they're browned on one side, we'll flip them over, and in seconds, they're done. All that's left to do is shake on some powdered sugar, maybe put on a pot of chicory coffee, like they drink in New Orleans, and let the party begin. So don't dilly-dally, go online now as our recipe for Mardi Gras beignets is waiting for you. I'm Howard with Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a fun and festive way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Well, you can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Now here's a look at the 4-state market prices.
All right, we are still looking, and actually, I'm taking a look at Skywatch Storm Tracker right now. I'm going to tell you, those thunderstorms we talked about developing, starting to develop just east of Tulsa, and those will start rolling in, and these ones could be strong, potentially severe. Outside of that, we've got those 40, 50, 60, 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts that are going to persist today, tonight, and into the first half of tomorrow. And, of course, the snow tonight as well. Not expecting major accumulations, but slick spots for sure. And, of course, blowing snow may reduce visibility. So a lot still going on.
Absolutely, Chris. Thanks. Dowdy up first later on.
Lots coming up at 5. In addition to the weather, artificial intelligence is being added into just about everything, including kids' toys these days. We're going to see how developers at the International Toy Fair are addressing parents' concerns by showing how they've added safeguards to the AI. Plus, the city of Miami continues its efforts to combat flooding in that area. It's a recurring problem. And with spring on the way, we're going to soon start to see more motorcyclists out on the roads. We're going to have a few tips on what to be aware of when sharing the road. Hope you join us. KOAM News at 5.
Absolutely, Dow. Thanks. That's the news for now. Thank you for joining us. Have a great rest of your day.